Hello everyone, I'm home. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all safe and sound from all the storms that have ravaged this United States of ours. I can't believe how crazy it's been. I've been just staying in, and when we do go out, we take our umbrellas and hope for the best, but it's been worse for some people, and I understand that. So here I'm showing my little chocolate bunny that I painted. Remember the gold flecked bunny? I gave him about 3 coats of paint, and he looks really cute. We ran into the Restore the other day, and I donated 4 totes of stuff. And I went in and I just took pictures of some pretty things for you guys to show you what great things you can find in the thrift store. This was a beautiful plastic tray. I think they wanted $2 for it. It was really pretty. And I love this one. It's just a cheaper tray, but boy, it's got just the most beautiful Easter colors. And it was $1.25. And I thought about getting it to put a cake on, but I got cake stands. And it's I don't know if it would hold a cake too well, but I've got cake stands. And then they had some pretty, I think they're called toll painted trays. This one was just beautiful with the flowers, and I think it was priced at like $2.29. They have kind of silly prices there. They're not like $2.99 and $2.50. They've $2.29, I think, was that. And then this one they had $29 on, but boy, it was a beautiful tray, and it was in perfect condition. It was very old. It was very well done. I think it was hand painted. I'm not real sure, but it had a glaze over the paint if it did. It was just really pretty, and I wanted to show it to you guys. It was a huge black tray, and I would have liked to put that like on a bar cart. That would have been beautiful. And then remember last year I think I got a cranberry glass egg at the Goodwill. Well, this one was a clear glass egg with a little bit of design in it. I thought it was awfully pretty, but I kind of think it needed a little color, but it would be pretty for Easter. And then I saw several pieces of carnival glass. This was just a little dish, and they had a couple of these little cups. I used to collect carnival glass, and I ended up selling all of it, but I do have a friend that collects it, and then I just don't want to sell it in my store. I have several pieces in my store, but I passed on all this stuff because I'm doing that, guys. I'm trying not to buy so much. And then they had some gold tiara. They had 4 plates of gold tiara, and they were in perfect condition. These are the little dessert plates where you can put the little cup on the side and have your dessert on the other side. I thought they were awfully pretty. And I have a friend that collects those, but she has so much gold tiara that she doesn't want any more. And then I found this basket. And to me, it looked like an old Easter basket. Now, I'm the kind, some people are purists. They want old stuff or they don't want it at all. But I'm the kind, if I find something cheap and it looks old and it satisfies my passion for primitives or antiques, I'll buy it. And this one did. It looked old. I don't think it's incredibly old, but it looked old. It was $1. And I got a discount that day, so it wasn't even $1. But it's got some wear to it. It's got some little holes in it, and the little nails are kind of stained. And to me, it looks old. And I will take it and put some primitive like grass in it. Maybe get some of the green paper grass and stain some of it so it looks kind of primitive. And fill it with some eggs. And set it, I can't wait to do it and set it around somewhere for Easter. So I'll be showing you that soon. I'll get that decorated up and set somewhere in the house. But I'm the kind, as long as it looks old and it makes me happy, it's fine. And I'm not going to antique it anymore or grunge it up anymore. I like it just the way it is. And I think it looks like it comes from like the 50s or 60s, but it might be from like 10 years ago. Who knows? Then I saw this cute little gravy boat that I would normally just snatch up because it was like 59 cents. But I have so many gravy boats and I have so much ironstone. It was hard to pass this little pretty up, but I did, and I wanted to show it to you guys. A lot of times you guys will put in the comments, oh my gosh, that Christmas quilt in the last video. I can't believe you passed that up. Well, I can't become a hoarder, guys. This was a pretty tarnished tea set. Now, some people would take those and shine them up. I'll hear people in the store saying, oh, that would be beautiful shined up. Well, see, I like it that way. I wouldn't shine it up. And then I saw these 2 little Tupperware glasses. They're probably from the 70s, and they were 99 cents a piece. And I thought, boy, if you collected Tupperware, and I know a couple of people that do, but they've told me to text them pictures, and I texted them, and they didn't want these because they had so many, but they appreciate me texting them. And then I thought this was a pretty little salt and pepper shaker set with the roses on it, but they wanted $10 for it, and I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that's a little too much. I think this stuff's all donated to this place. I think that should be like $5. I'm cheap. And then I saw this little tiny darling little pitcher, and I collect moss rose, and I have tons of it, but I don't have this little pitcher, and it was so cute. It's only about 2 inches tall, and it probably goes with a child's tea set, which I have 2 child tea sets, but neither one of them have this little creamer or pitcher. So I bought it. It was 59 cents, and it was, you can tell there it's dirty. I came home and scrubbed it up, and it's so pretty. I just love it. And then I thought this was pretty. In the Victoria magazines, you see a lot of little nightstands like this. They'll use them for end tables as well. And sometimes they'll paint little flowers on them and put some gold details on. And this was like, I think they wanted $12.99 for it, so that wasn't bad. And it would make a beautiful nightstand or a table next to a chair, decorated all up with some pretty stuff in it. And then, my bar cart. I have a little wooden bar cart. I saw this, and I thought, man, if I didn't have that wooden bar cart, this would be a beautiful bar cart. I have that beautiful tray with the gold on it and all the glassware. This wasn't very tall. It was a little shorter, but boy, it was awfully pretty. And I think, gosh, I try to remember the prices when I leave. I should take pictures of the price tags. I think it was $22, but it was a really nicely made little table with the leaves, and the leaves were underneath it, and it was sturdy, and it was really cute. That'll go half price in about a week and a half. If it's still there, I just may have to get another bar cart. And then in the free bin, I found this little bunny. He's about 1.5 inches thick, and I thought, Marcy, you don't really decorate too much for Easter. You don't need that. You'll have to go home and figure out how to dance him up. But he was free, so I brought him home, and I went through my fabric. I was going to put paper on him. Then I went through my fabric, and I had a little tiny scrap of this that would fit him. So I turned him over, traced around it, put the fabric on him with a glue stick, and let him dry, and he turned out really cute. I'll set him somewhere. Right now he's sitting on the kitchen table, but I think I'll put him up on one of my cake stands up on the mantle. And then I went through my ribbons, and I found this little pink ribbon to put around his neck, but I think it's a little too pink. I think I need more of a peachy colored pink, and I'll have to go through my ribbons and try to find something else. But he turned out really cute, and he just sits up on a shelf, and I may set him in the bathroom. I don't know. Then I'm going through the free bin, and they had another one of these little crocheted or tatted scarves. It's about 18 inches long. And it was just beautiful. It didn't smell. It was perfect. It's old. And I brought it home and rinsed it out in the sink with some Febreze and some laundry soap. And I rinsed it real good, laid it out to dry, and it's so beautiful. Someone really worked hard on that. And then I was telling you before that in the stuff that my friend Rosie's family gave me with her red chicken dishes, the rooster dishes, there were also a lot of these little plates, which I believe are the Cape Cod plates from Avon. They're a real deep ruby red color, and I think she used them on her table like for a bread plate or salad plate, and they go really well with the rooster pattern dishes that I got. So I forgot to show you guys that when I took them out of the box. And then I was at Hobby Lobby the other day, and they had all their knobs on sale, half off. So I got this little red rooster one. It was the only one they had, but I have a little cabinet that only has one handle on it, and it's a wooden handle, and I think I might put this on there. I just bought it because you could just put it on any little cabinet. If I build a cabinet for my cookbooks, I could use it for that, and I thought it was really pretty. The deep red, Rosie would have had a fit over that. And then, of course, I set it on the counter next to her little wax warmer that they gave me to see what it would look like. And my kitchen's starting to take on a rooster and red theme. It was never that way before, but I got so much of her stuff, and in my kitchen, my cabinets are like a cream color, and then I have the wood countertop, so it doesn't matter what color you put in there, it goes with it. And then I was thrifting at the Goodwill the other day with my son, and I found these two little, I'm going to call them ramekins. They're little. I don't know what they are, but they've got the little red rim around them, and I thought, oh, Rosie would have loved those. So they were 59 cents a piece, so I picked those up, and I set them next to the little warmer so you could see how everything's kind of blending. And like I said, my kitchen's kind of a neutral. I can put copper, and I've got some flow blue in there, and I can put the red, and it's just really pretty. And these little ramekins are just adorable. There's no mark on the bottom. I don't know where they came from, but I thought you guys would enjoy seeing them and seeing how all the red stuff's going to be looking in my kitchen. And of course, it reminds me of my friend every time I look at him. And then, oh, I've already showed you guys this. Why is this picture popping up again? Okay, this is the basket. And like I said, it's not real old, but it looks old. And for me, that's good enough. Some people would say, oh no, I want a real old antique Easter basket. And that's fine. You can have whatever you want in your house, but as long as it looks old and it pleases the eye, for me, I'm okay with it. And I can't wait to decorate this little basket up and set it around somewhere. So yesterday, we've had a lot of storms and it's been nasty, but we drove to Indianapolis, a suburb of Indianapolis, to some ball games my son and my husband were going to go to. It was called the Chipotle Nationals. So I was driving down this street and I thought I'd show you those beautiful trees. It's high school basketball tournament time, and my son and my husband, they love this time of year and they love to go. But the thing was, I rode with them up there, but the games go from like 10 in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. So the games don't get over till 10 o'clock. So we got there. I dropped them off at the door, and my son had already looked up the Goodwills in the area for me. And I said, don't worry about me, because they always say, Mom, I hate it that you have to sit so long during the day. And I said, hey, I'll sit in the car and work on my videos. I'll go to Goodwill. I'll go to a restaurant and take my time eating and working on my videos at the restaurant. That doesn't bother me at all. So I went to their first Goodwill, which was about 6 blocks from the school. And it was a big one. And this town's really fancy and it's expensive. You ought to see all the beautiful homes. So I walk in and I could tell immediately that it was one of the nicest Goodwills I'd ever been in. It was real clean, really organized, really big, had lots of nice stuff. And they had a lot of good quality stuff. And I thought, uh-oh, I'm in trouble because I'm not buying stuff anymore. And I'm just doing this for you guys so you can see the incredible things that you can find when you go thrifting. So here we are. I've got my cart. I thought, well, take a cart. You might buy something. And I headed into this store. And there were people donating stuff as I was pulling into the parking lot. It's pouring down rain. And big fancy Escalades were dropping off furniture and everything. I want to go back. I told my husband, I said, I've got to go back again because this is a great one. So I spent 2 hours in this store. I looked at every single thing they had. They had these, they were just putting these out. They just brought a card out. And these were, I think they were $1.99 a piece, but boy, were they nice. Big, heavy champagne or wine glasses with gold trim, and they were all in excellent condition, and there was a ton of them. The girl that was putting them on the shelf, she was just putting them here, there, and everywhere. So when she left, I got them all together because I thought, boy, if somebody wants those, somebody that's having a big fancy party, they need them all. So I put them all together and they were just gorgeous. And crystal everywhere. There were women there buying that crystal up, and I was trying to be, oh, you don't need any crystal. You don't need anything. They had these beautiful, soft, pink, older wine glasses that I love. They're filthy dirty, but I went through the shelves and got them all together and put them up on the top shelf. And I left this store and went to eat, and I came back a couple hours later because they just kept bringing more carts out. And when I came back later, they were gone. So I was glad to put them all together so somebody would get them. I saw this crystal candy dish. This is hand-cut crystal. Oh my gosh. I tried to get the sparkle and the color that was shining through this little candy dish, but it just wouldn't show up on my picture. But it was heavy, and it would have been beautiful with Easter candy and a pretty cellophane tied around it with a ribbon to give to somebody. And the prices were pretty good. I thought their prices were great. They had this beautiful crystal vase and these beautiful candlesticks. They weren't crystal, they were just glass, but so unique and tall. And I think they were $2.99 a piece. I mean, for such a fancy area, they didn't have big prices. They were priced just like all the other Goodwills. And then this is the big crystal vase that I saw. I'm pretty sure it was either Waterford or I don't know. It was a heavy crystal vase. It was about 10 inches tall, gorgeous. It was only $5.99, I think, and I passed on it, guys. It was so hard. I held it in my hand and enjoyed the beauty of it, but I didn't buy it because I don't need any more crystal vases. I find them all the time at the Mission for $2, and I have some Waterford. This was a Waterford candlestick crystal, gorgeous, tall. It would hold a little votive, but they only had one, so I passed on it. And then they had this beautiful crystal decanter, and I think it was $5.99. It was gorgeous. And then they had these pretty candle holders that just had pretty glass on them. It was nice stuff. They had quality in this store. I was pretty impressed with some of the unusual things I saw as well. Of course, they have some of the tacky stuff too. All of the Goodwills do. And then this was beautiful, but they only had one. And I really looked it over because I thought for an Easter table that would be so pretty with a candle in it. Kind of reminded me of Cappa di Monte. I think that's how you say it. The painted porcelain flowers. And I turned it over, and it was Staffordshire from England. Staffordshire from England. Fine bone china, but I passed. And then this thing tortured me through the store. I saw it. It was only $1.99. It's a big candle holder, but it was painted so beautifully. And it had a little tiny piece of paint missing, but nothing that you could really even see. I'll tell you about it later, what I did. And then I have a friend who collects M&M stuff. She works for the Mars Candy Company, and she has a big collection of M&M stuff. So I didn't even text her to see if she wanted this. I just picked it up. It was 99 cents. It's plastic or kind of rubber, but it was really cute. And I thought, well, if she doesn't want it, she can give it to some kid. But it was clean and didn't look like it had ever been used. It was a little mug, and I just thought it was adorable. So I threw that in my cart. So I did buy that. And then years ago, I found some plates and cups, dinner plates and cups at a thrift store, real cheap, of Tracy Porter. And she's a designer, and I just thought this was the prettiest design. And I've since sold mine because I have too many sets of dishes. But I used them for a couple of years. So I recognize Tracy Porter stuff when I see it. And it's very pricey if you buy it at the Macy's and different stores. And this was a big platter that they had of hers. And it's got pears and apples and plums. It's a beautiful set. I still have one of the mugs because I had like 5 mugs. So I kept one of them because they're so beautiful. But I sold the other set in my store. And I think this big platter was like $3.99. And then here we go again with the words on everything that I don't care for. I think most people know what a cream and sugar is on the table because there's cream in the pitcher and sugar in the bowl. But I know some of you love it, and it's great if you love it, and you would have loved these. These were only $1.99 for the set. And then as I was taking the picture of them, this was on a new cart that they just brought out, and some woman grabbed them up immediately because she must like that stuff or collects it. She went crazy. But I was looking down on a bottom shelf, and there was a little cream colored tray, and it was exactly the same color, and I think it went under there. So I hurried up and asked her, I said, can I see those a minute? I said, I think they go on this tray. So we took the picture, and she goes, oh my gosh, you're right. They go on that tray. And the tray was 99 cents. And she just flipped. She said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I said, well, they do that. They'll put different pieces in different areas, and I think that goes together. So she bought the whole set, and she was tickled to death. And I didn't tell her what my opinion is on the words on everything, but I wanted to say that tray should say tray for your cream and sugar so you know what to do with it. I just think it's funny. And then I saw these, and they reminded me of my boys when they were little. They watched that Cars movie. We went to see it at the theater 2 or 3 times, and then they had the movie, and they watched it so many times. And I always would pick up well, back then you'd go to Walmart and buy them for them, the little cars that went with that movie, and they've got them all. And I have a little Rubbermaid box with all of their cars in it. And someday they'll take that box and share them with their kids, I hope. But Mater and the other car, I can't even remember the name now, I think that they're going to, like get in their box to give to their kids someday. They'll enjoy it, that I saved them for them, I think. And then I saw the fire trucks, and my uncle's a fireman, and years ago when I'd find a really neat old fire truck at the thrift store, I'd get it for him, and he's got a shelf with about 10 older looking fire trucks, and they're toys. And it's hard for me not to pick these up because I think of my future grandkids and how much my kids enjoyed them. And then I used to pick them up for a fire department that had a big display cabinet, and they just liked all the little fire trucks in there, and you can find them at the thrift stores all the time. And I don't know, my uncle being a fireman and everything, I get sentimental about him, and my boys loved him when they were little. So it was hard to pass on these because they were in excellent condition, and they were like $2. And I think of little boys that would love to play with him. And then this is me right here. I would have snatched this up immediately, but I didn't. It's an antique looking tin. I keep these with my sewing supplies in them all over the house. One's next to my chair, one's in the bedroom, one's in my office. It's just so I can always be sewing and doing things when I'm in that room. But I passed on it. It was a Valentine design, and it was just so cute. Some lady came up to the cart, and she said, if you're not going to get that, I'm going to. And it was, I believe it was $1.99. Guys, I'm doing good. I'm really proud of myself. I walked through this whole store going, man, I'm doing good. I've only bought the little M&M thing, and I did buy a couple little things I'll show you soon, but I think I did pretty good. And this had, look at those roses. It's just it looks like an old postcard. It's just exactly my vibe. And normally that would have went in my cart and I wouldn't have thought a thing about it, but you're going to hear some loud vehicles going by. You know, my little rabbit that I found, well, at that Goodwill that day, they had an egg, and it already had paint on it, and it was just like that other little bunny cut out. And I didn't care for this design so much, and I thought, well, I could put fabric on that or paper, and it was only 99 cents, I believe. But I just don't want a bunch more Easter stuff sitting around. I just don't. But I just thought that was odd that I just found the little bunny in the free bin, and that's how thick it is. It stands up on its own. And I thought about it. Do I need another Easter decoration to sit around? But then you've got to store it. And I have one tote with a little bit of Easter stuff in it, and I think I have enough. I don't know. I don't know, guys. What do you do? Do you buy every decoration that you like that's cheap? This had been $5.99, probably in like Michael's or, I don't know, maybe TJ Maxx. I can't really tell by the sticker. Oh, I think it has a sticker on it. Maybe Home Goods. Anyway, it was 99 cents, and I thought about it, but then you got to go home and sit down and do the project too, and sometimes I don't always have time. I did get that little rabbit done. It didn't take long. Then I saw this cute little mug for 99 cents, and I thought of one of my nieces. I thought I could put some candy in there and wrap it up and give it to her, but then she's stuck with having to store this little mug because you wouldn't want to use it all the time. I don't know, maybe you would. But I passed on it. And Lord, I'm so glad my husband wasn't with me. Remember when he bought the little hot dog stand that took 2 hours to heat up a hot dog? Well, he would have wanted this because it said Game Day Sports Fan hot dog cooker. And it was really cute. And it was like, I think it was $3.99. And if he'd have been with me, he would have had a fit and said, oh my gosh, another hot dog cooker. I gotta have it. My husband's so silly. He called me from the game, and I couldn't hardly hear him because of all the noise, but he said, did you get me anything? And I did get him something. I don't think I put it on this video, but I bought him something. And then they had the old-looking apples, and they were the heavy ones and the good ones that I always buy, but I didn't buy them because I have so many, and they were only 99 cents, which they usually are, so I passed on them. And I've got a lot of apples and pears, you know that, and gourds and pumpkins in my bowls. And then this was similar to the little canister that I found recently that was from Pier 1. This one was from Cracker Barrel. It had a Cracker Barrel sticker on the bottom. And these are really nice because the lids fit really tight. But I passed. It was like $1.99, but I said no. And then I saw this beautiful big tray. It was huge. It was like probably 18 inches long. And then I saw a bowl way far away from it that matched it. And I thought to myself, why do they do that? They know that those go together. Why don't they just put them together? Maybe even put some tape around them and sell them as a set. I think the tray was $5.99 and the bowl was $3.99. And they were sure beautiful. I would love to have them for a party, but don't need them. And then this bowl was really pretty for spring. I'm so ready for spring. Like I told you before, I try to enjoy the seasons as they come and enjoy every moment of them, but I think we're all ready for spring. They're talking about snow here in the next couple of days after we've had 70-degree temperatures. And then I saw these glasses. I think these are handmade glasses. I've seen them a lot in Pier 1, and sometimes Macy's will have them, or Kohl's, and I just love them, and I love the cobalt around the rim, and I like how they're all just a little different from the others because they're handmade, and they're just beautiful, and these were only 99 cents, and I wanted them, but didn't get them, but I wanted to show them to you all because they were beautiful, and just to show you that if you don't thrift, you should go someday, especially in a fancy town, an expensive town. This town didn't even have normal places to go, like Arby's and Taco Bell and stuff. I think it was too fancy for, or not fancy enough for them. Then I saw this big, tall, heavy vase that was sitting up on a high shelf. I don't know why they put it up there. Maybe it didn't fit on the bottom shelves. But I pulled it down because I thought of my boys and their houses someday. That would be beautiful in a man's house with some greenery sticking up out of it, some dried twigs or something. Look at this design on it. It was just a beautiful embossed design, and I thought about how I could even use it in my clay projects. I could lay clay on it and make an imprint, and it was beautiful, guys. And it did have a couple little tiny chips, which I could have painted and made fine, and it was like, I think it was $9.99, but my boys would probably veto it, and I just didn't get it, but oh, it was so pretty. Then I thought this pumpkin was pretty. It was a little pale, and it was made with a copper covering over it, like kind of like the gold leaf. It looked like someone had gold leafed it with copper, and it was really pretty. And believe it or not, it was big. It was 99 cents. It was hard for me not to take that little pumpkin. I really liked him. I thought he'd look good in my kitchen. And then they had a lot of the copper mugs, and they had their stuff organized by color and design, and they had all the copper stuff together and a lot of mercury glass stuff together, which made it really difficult for me because I love that kind of stuff, and there it was all right in my face. And these were just pretty little, oh, I just love them. These are the kind of things I always put out on my patio, and they look so pretty at night with little candles in them. But I have a lot of them. I have a box in my garage where I keep all my little votives that I put in the out on the patio, and I didn't need them. And then I saw these, and they were so beautiful, and they were handmade pottery mugs that someone did. And again, it was hard for me not to just throw them in my cart because those things are works of art. And they were all the same size. Well, you can see one in the back there. It might not be as tall as the rest, but I think it was. They were beautiful. And whoever made them did a fantastic job. And I know how hard it is to make pottery. You got to make it, and then you got to fire it, and then you got to paint, and then bake it, and then fire it, and glaze it. And they were all signed, and they were gorgeous. Then they had some cute little, well, they kept bringing out carts. And, of course, when you hear a cart come out, everybody in the store runs to that cart. And that's the case today. And then they had these big Easter eggs for 99 cents that I could have redone, but I didn't want to do that. And then I saw this basket that reminds me of the old baskets, but I think it's a newer one. But this is the kind of basket we had when we were kids. And I really like the style and the color of it. And I thought about it, but then I had gotten that other basket, so I thought you don't need another Easter basket that looks old to store in the basement somewhere, but it sure was pretty. And then a cake stand with a bunny underneath it, guys. And it was $1.99. But I passed. I just passed. I thought of you guys and how I had told you out loud that I was going to quit buying so much stuff in the thrift stores. And this would have been for me. It wouldn't have been a resale, so I didn't do it. But I thought I really needed this 99-cent Ferris wheel that went around and around, and it was the cutest little thing you ever saw. Someone might have made it. Maybe it came from a store, but it was 99 cents, and I thought, I need that. I could set it outside in one of my miniature buildings, but I didn't get it. It was kind of a sad day in a way, but happy because I was seeing so much cool stuff. Loved this colander. It was a little dirty, but oh, it would have cleaned up and it would have been gorgeous. But I had to think about at home how little storage I have and how I have a big copper colander and I have a big metal copper or aluminum, or I don't know, it's silver. Then I saw this one, jadeite. It kind of looked like it would have been a Pioneer Woman design. I don't know. But I have two colanders and I have a little colander. And then I have that yellow one that Tupperware put out that was my mom's. And I don't use it, but I have it stuck in a cabinet somewhere. So I thought, Marcy, think about it. Do you really need another colander? No, you don't, because they're big and they take up a lot of space. So I passed on it. But guys, these were like $2.99 and they were gorgeous, especially that blue one. This is hard. And then I go back to the glassware because I could hear clinking and this girl was putting more stuff on. And they had this set of little tiny cups and saucers that have to be from the Victorian era. They just were gorgeous. I've never seen anything like this before. They were the cutest little cups, and they, for as old as they were in pretty darn good condition. There was a little bit of gold paint missing off of them, but my gosh, guys, look at that set. 6 little plates and 6 little cups that were so dainty. I don't even know what you would drink out of them. I guess maybe coffee. I don't know. But they were from the Victorian era, and they were gorgeous, and I wanted them bad. They were 99 cents a piece, but I didn't get them. And then I saw this plate, which was newer. The middle part there I'm not real crazy about, but they had 6 of them. And they would be good to hang on the wall with plate hangers. They were pretty enough to do that. And they kind of passed for old, even though they were new. The label on the back would look new. I forgot to take a picture of it, but I just thought they were too new looking. But look at the border. If the inside middle part had looked as beautiful as this border, I would have been buying them. But it wasn't. It just looked too new. And then it looked like they put a new pattern in the middle and an old pattern on the border, but I sure like that border. And I thought, you can hang those plates on the wall and they would look old, but I didn't get them. And then the lamp section, oh my gosh. I always think of my boys and their future homes and how I want to get them unique looking lamps that look like they would belong in a man's home. And I saw this one, it's actually a pear with a leaf on top. It was beautiful. And then they had this cute little lamp. I always think about my kitchen countertops. I like to have little lamps on my counter, and this one was cheap and it would have looked really pretty on the counter, but I have a lot of lamps, so I didn't need it. But boy, before you go buy a lamp, my son went and bought a lamp at Menards the other day, and he gave a lot for it, and he just wanted a little black lamp in his bedroom, and I said, on his desk, and I said, Matthew, let's go to Goodwill. They'll have them. And he'd already bought this one, but we went to Goodwill later and he saw that he could have got one for $4 or $5. But this one was really pretty. It was pink and silver, and it kind of had the mercury glass look to it. And I immediately thought of my beauty shop. It would look beautiful in there, but I have 2 or 3 lamps in there already, and they were thrifted, of course, and they're gorgeous. And then they had this silver. I just lost my train of thought. Mercury glass looking. And then they had this huge framed picture that was in excellent condition called Java Dreams or something. And I thought it looked like a bar myself, but they said something about coffee. Had Marilyn Monroe, Elvis, James Dean, and this guy in the back reading the newspaper. I know who he is, but I can't think of his name for anything. My son didn't even know who he was. But it was a big picture in a beautiful frame. And I thought, my boys and my husband had a sports room downstairs where they had a bar and everything. This would have looked beautiful in there. But we don't have that room anymore. We kind of dissolved it. But it was so pretty. And then they had a lot of Crown Royal bags. And I don't know if you've ever seen this where they put these bags around Crown Royal and people collect them and they make quilts out of them. Well, the ones they make quilts out of are velvet. And I was kind of sad to see that these are no longer velvet. They're like a real flimsy felt, and they have a sticky feeling to them, like your finger can snag on them. They're not as pretty as the velvet ones. So I don't know if people are collecting these now to make quilts, but the velvet ones are beautiful. I've seen some quilts made with it. Go online and look up the Crown Royal quilts, and they're just gorgeous. Then over in the furniture section, they had some really cute little end tables. This one was only $6.99, and then they had a bigger one. I don't remember how much it was, but it wasn't much. And then they had a lot of really nice dining room chairs. Some of them were captain's chairs, and then the regular ones. I mean, if you're starting out and you want some nice stuff, go to a nice area where they have a good Goodwill, and you can get some nice furniture. These chairs were only $14.99 a piece. And then they had this pub table that was just beautiful, and when I first got there, it had 4 chairs around it, bar stool chairs, and they had them all marked individually, and someone has come along and bought all those bar stool chairs. I don't know why they let them do that. They should sell this as a whole set, because if you bought that table, you're going to have a hard time finding the bar stool chairs or bar stools that match it perfect. So I think that should have been sold as a set, but that's just me, and they don't care what I think, but that's what I think. But it was beautiful, and it was like $24. It wasn't much at all. And then this was a pretty old antique chair, and it was a good price. And then I did buy this. This was a big scarf. It's to wear, but it's huge and it's wide, and I'm going to put it on my table. But some Goodwills sell scarves for 99 cents. Some of them are $1.99, and I know of one place that's $2.49. So these were 99 cents, and I couldn't pass that up for a big scarf for my dining room table. It's just beautiful, and it's reversible, and you could wear it if you wanted to, but I'm going to use it for a table scarf. Then the book section always kills me because I find such great books, and this one would have been right up my alley, American Castles. I like to read and see pictures and learn things constantly. I sit in my chair and I read all the time, so these would have been great. They had 2 Pioneer Woman cookbooks that were like brand new. They like cracked when you opened them. It was like somebody got them for Christmas and never used them and just threw them at the Goodwill. And this Goodwill's books weren't expensive. Some of them have went way up to $4.99 a book, and this one was still the $2.49 for a paper or for a hardback, and $1.99 for paperback, and 99 cents for kids' books. So $2.49, $5 for these 2 books was a good deal. And then I saw this big classic cars book, and it was $4.99, but it was like cracked when you open it too. Like no one ever used it. Like they got it for Christmas and just donated it to Goodwill. I could have bought this for my husband for Christmas, and he would have known it came from a thrift store because he knows me. But you could give that as a gift. It was perfect. I flipped through it, and it had Corvettes and all kinds of old cars. And then if you like Dave Ramsey, I'm a Dave Ramsey fanatic. I love him, and he's helped our family so much. And a lot of the books that he touts on his channel, you can order through him, or you can order them through his website. You can find them at Goodwill. People buy them, learn the information, and then they donate them. So check out Goodwill before you order some Dave Ramsey books. Don't tell him I told you to do that, but they're always there. And I've loaned my Dave Ramsey books out to people because I've picked up a few at the Goodwill, and I could do that. Then I saw this really pretty pumpkin that someone had decoupaged, and I usually don't like the way they decoupage pumpkins, but this one had a really pretty paper on it. Sometimes they use old, like floral napkins and stuff. And this one was really pretty, and it was only 99 cents, and it was huge. And I really gave it a good thought. But I thought, oh, Marcy, you just put 2 big totes of pumpkins in the basement, and it about killed me to get down there to store them away. So I didn't buy it, but it sure was pretty. Then I take a picture of this, what's his name? Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. My mom had this album when I was growing up, and this album was like in perfect condition. I think their albums are $1.49, and I just had to take a picture of it for myself to remember my mom's album. And I read up on him, and he's one of the wealthiest entertainers ever. And then look at this, Jeannie Pruitt Satin Sheets, an original album of hers. Look at her outfit, and she's laying on satin sheets. Oh my gosh, it's all pink, and then in the background it looks like a quilted bedspread. Yeah. I just had to take a picture of that. I love to look at albums because it just, you can almost tell what year it was made by the picture. And then this next album, oh my gosh, please tell me that this is not the Jackie Gleason that we all know is on the Honeymooners and on Smokey and the Bandit. But I think it is, because I looked him up and he did a lot of albums about intimate stories spoken and sung by Jackie Gleason, words of love. I can't imagine in my wildest dreams, but there was a whole bunch of albums of Jackie Gleason back before he was probably even on the Honeymooners, where he talked about love and intimate situations and sung songs about love. So I think it was him, but I laughed when I saw it. Oh boy. And then let's just do all the quirky stuff in one big section here. This store did have some quirky stuff. Snow globes are always cloudy by the time they get to the thrift store. I've never seen a pretty snow globe in the thrift store. This one has an alligator and this one has a horse, and they're so cloudy, and they were marked like $2.99 a piece, and I'm thinking, put those in the free bin for somebody who's really desperate for their collection. I couldn't believe it, because this store is really upscale. And here's another cloudy one, and that's an angel that's a cat. It's a cat angel, and it's got its hand on another little cat or some kind of figure, and it's like pulling on its head. And I don't know. I just had to snap that one for you guys for the quirky section, because lately I haven't been doing the quirky stuff because I'm always trying to take pictures of good stuff for you. So it was overload today. And here's a little statue of a bear who's got a man, like he captured the man, and he's got him tied up on a little tray. I thought that was kind of quirky. I guess, I don't know what kind of decor you would have where you would want that sitting in your house, but apparently people have them. And let's just give a shout out to Betty McCollum. She's apparently a ceramics person, and she made these lovely little figurines. Guys, I got the biggest kick out of these kids. She made them, and on the bottom, I didn't take a picture, but on one of them she wrote Dale, and on the other one it says Gail. So Dale and Gail, she must have made these for, and I hope they don't really look like Dale and Gail, but she did a pretty good job on the design, and he's kind of scary, but those are my quirky items for today. And again, these were like marked $1.99, I think, a piece. So for $4, you could get a nice little set of Dale and Gail. I'm cracking myself up here. I had so much fun, guys. I didn't miss one part of that store. I went through all the clothes. I went through everything. And then somebody made this little ceramic thing and totally gave up on the painting of it and just splashed some paint on it. It was a real nice, heavy glass piece. Maybe it wasn't handmade, but it was sure hand painted. And I saw it and I picked it up, and it had a lot of weight to it, and it looks like a NASCAR maybe. I don't know why they didn't just paint it the way it was supposed to be painted, but maybe some little kid did it. I don't know. But some work went into it because it was glazed and everything. And then I saw this little bear that he was kind of cross-eyed, and then this little clown. I guess now that little clown, they used to make those little people, and I had a pom-pom girl, and my husband had a little baseball player, and they were really cute, and we've got them somewhere in a box. But anyway, that's enough of the quirky stuff, unless you want to consider this quirky. It's a unicorn horn. I don't know. I don't know. I guess for Halloween you can be a unicorn. I don't know. Guys, this is a really long video. I felt so bad about giving you that little short video the other day, but we've had so many storms and power outages, I didn't have much to do with this, and now I'm trying to get back into it. And I saw in the clothing section, this was a brand new jacket, kind of like a sweater jacket made by Mulberry Cottage, and it came from Nashville, Indiana, which is a cute little town that we go to, and it's got all kinds of cute little shops, and I know this little thing was probably pretty expensive, and it was cute. I'm one that likes the leopard pattern. I know some people think it's tacky, but I like it. But this jacket wouldn't have fit me, but it was brand new, and it was only $4.99. And then this was a pretty little dress. It was like teal and had roses all over it. Really cute. Then I saw this brand new sweater made by Stitches in Time from QVC. It still had the tags on it. And it was pretty. It was red and had some embroidery on it. But can you imagine? Some lady gave a lot of money for that from QVC, and she never wore it and donated it to Goodwill. And what in the Liberace wearing heck is this? It's a little, like, short. It wouldn't even cover your belly. Sparkly jacket. And, oh boy. You could see this thing a mile away. It was just, the light was just bouncing off of it. And we have a thing at Christmas time where through the years, if I find ugly clothes like this in the free bin, I buy them. And then when we all get together for Christmas with his family, everybody gets, the adults get a package that has some kind of beautiful garment. I think I've told you this before. And you have to put it on and wear it for the rest of the party. And it's so much fun. And I instantly thought of my niece, Mel. When I saw this, I thought I'll get this for Mel. But I didn't get it because I just didn't. But I have plenty of stuff for our next Christmas party. But look at all that bling. And all those little sequins were probably hand sewn on there because I don't think a machine could do that. But I did look through all of their clothes, and I'm glad I did because I found this in the men's section. It was a brand new IU jacket. It's a Coach's jacket. It was an XL. It was new. It still had a little tag on it from the store. It had Adidas on the sleeve. It was zippered. It was an XL, so I could wear it and feel real comfortable like when I walk, because my husband and I walk a lot. And it's real lightweight, but it's really well made. It has zippers on the side. You can loosen it. It's got these little ties that you can tighten it. Over the shoulder, it had this little pattern that kind of had a sheen to it. And it had these little holes across the back. I think it's a man's jacket, no doubt. But, oh, I just love it. And, guys, it was $4.99. Now, their jackets are usually $8 and $10, $12 sometimes. But I was really tickled to get this because when we walk on a big track outside at our school, or sometimes I walk on the treadmill inside and I don't need a jacket. But when I'm outside, sometimes you just need a lightweight jacket. And it's long and it'll cover my bottom, and I'll wear my black or white pants with it and it'll be great. So yeah, you can, like, whatever your design style is, you can find lamps and decor and all kinds of stuff to go with that decor style. Like this one on the left, that would look good in a house. Now the gold one, it's a little bit funky, but you can always paint them or put a stone finish on them. And then I saw this pretty mug. It was really pretty, but I've got so many mugs. And then look at all the rolling pins you could put in this baby. So I just walked through the store and took my time, and then I went to eat. I forgot to put the food in there. I was going to put a picture of the food that I ate at this fantastic Mexican restaurant. Maybe I'll put the picture in the next one. I sent it to my sons while they were at the ball game and made them jealous because this place was fantastic. And I just took that several hour span that I had and just relaxed, looked at the Goodwills, and went out to eat. And I drove down some pretty streets. Now, this is my friend Marianne's big tree, and I think it's a magnolia tree in front of her house. And it's just beautiful right now. But they're talking about more windstorms, so I don't know how long these blooms are going to stay on. But as always, you can join me on Instagram at MarcyJo631 and see what's going on. And I want to thank you guys for joining me. And I'll be back soon with another video, hopefully doing some miniature work and more Easter decor, and I'll show you what I did with that basket, and I'll show you my Easter table. And I love you guys from the bottom of my heart, and hold tight with all these storms. Spring is coming.